From the Barcz Company is here taking your plant and garden calls, 270-9933. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Beautiful day. And yes, flower time, there's butterflies and hummingbirds.
And bees. You know, we like the flowers, but all of those plants that we use help butterflies and bees and hummingbirds to feed and survive and complete their life cycle. So there's a combination. We've got butterfly weed down front, which is one of their favorites, and then little Gaillardia, purple coneflower. Well, actually, it's an orange coneflower. Phlox. This Russian sage back here is very good for bees. And then, of course, we've got butterfly bush also.
And these are all perennials?
These are all perennials that are going to come back every year.
And there are annuals, too, that I'll attract.
There are. Salvia seems to be a real big favorite that we were talking about earlier. And they actually have one that sort of looks like the butterfly weed that is an annual also.
They're so magical. It's fun when they come to the garden. All right, let's start with Deborah in Cambridge. Hi, Deb. What's your question?
My question is, can I freeze my basil after I pick it?
Okay. Well, I know some friends of mine that actually do freeze the leaves also. They are going to darken, but you'll still get some flavor when you're making soups and spaghetti and things like that. But a really good way to preserve that is to make pesto, where you put it in a blender and add garlic and olive oil, and I love it.
That'll freeze.
Yes, really well.
All right, here's Ann in Browntown. Hi, Ann. What's your question?
I have a tomato plant that has the tomatoes have blossom rot, and what can I do to stop that? Or
okay, when tomatoes develop blossom end rot, the ones that have that, obviously you're going to have to harvest and cut that out and try to use as much of that as you can. But to prevent that, with all the rain that we've had, probably they're lacking in calcium. So you can supplement with and you've got various products that you can use, or as long as you supply the micronutrient calcium, that will help.
Okay. Let's check in with Kay in McFarland. Hi, Kay. What's your question?
Yes, I have an Asian maple tree that I planted last year, and I had heard how the winter was so rough on Japanese maples. Mm-hmm. But mine came in, flowered all the way. It's been beautiful, except that now from the top, it's starting to lose its leaves.
Okay, well, if it's starting to lose its leaves, I'm wondering, Japanese beetle have been feeding on various things, so that's making some of them look a little bad. That plant should not be suffering from winter cold this late. If it leafed out, then it is almost August. The tree's leaves have done the job that they have to do. So if you start to get an early fall drop on it, I wouldn't be too concerned.
I have a tree that loses its leaves every year, like in the end of July. The tree's dead. Nope, next year's fine.
That's right.
All right, let's go to Sharon in Fitchburg. Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
Hi, which question?
Thank you for taking my call. Yeah, I've got a rhubarb plant that I've been fighting with for several years. It used to do really good. It's in my yard, and we would like to transplant it into the garden. Okay. And we've got good soil and fertilizer in the garden now. Our garden's doing very good. And we were wondering if we could do that now and then put some sand or something with it.
Well, if you have good soil in your garden, rhubarb is a heavy feeder because it puts out a lot of stems and leaves that people are going to harvest. Doing it in the fall is probably a little bit better time. You can move it now. You just have to make sure that you would water it. But otherwise, fall would be a good time. Make sure you don't plant it too deep. And I don't think if you have good soil, you don't necessarily have to add sand.
Wait a few weeks.
Yes, we're moving into a nicer time period of cooler temperatures, but fall is real good to move rhubarb.
All right, Lisa in Beloit. Hi, Lisa. What's your question?
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Lisa. I'd like to know, is something wrong with my aster? I have half of it is growing and blooming, and it dies, and the other half is real tall and still doing nothing.
Well, the asters are not going to be blooming yet. They bloom later. They're probably going to be blooming in September. But the fact that a portion of it has died out, if something dies on a plant and it's brown and there isn't any life, prune that out because it just detracts from the rest of it. But the rest of that aster, if you don't like it to get that tall, you have to prune it back earlier in the season, not now.
Because you're cutting off all the flowers.
You're cutting off the flowers right now. Very good. Thanks.
All right, so wait. We're out of time. If you're on the line, stay there. Linda will talk to you off the air. We'll see you next time. Yeah.